Brazil, a land of diverse landscapes, rich culture, and warm-hearted people. Despite its allure and interest to travelers worldwide, I will argue as to why Brazil will never be overrun by tourists. Let's get it, baby.
It's us.
So I remember when there was a point a couple years ago around the pandemic that Medellin, Colombia, the Dominican Republic were the wave. It was where everyone was going to because those were the spots that had the coolest areas. The cultures were really nice. The food was great. The women were super beautiful, and there was a plethora of them all around the city. The cost of living was super cheap. So a lot of American tourists and tourists were flocking. Like, I'm talking about herds of them, zombie apocalypse, like Walking Dead, a bunch of them flocking on over to Colombia, Medellin, the Dominican Republic, Sosua, because of these reasons. But over the last couple years, I've noticed there's been like a huge change in the travel space where instead of people glorifying Medellin, glorifying Sosua, now they're kind of bashing it. Where it's kind of like, no, don't go there because there's too much P for P. No, don't go there because it's dangerous. It's getting more expensive. There's more tourists. There's more American tourists going there. There's more Pookies and Ray Rays that are ruining the scene. And me being a Brazil loyalist that I am, you guys know that I adore Brazil. That is my freaking country. Of course, that and Spain are my two favorite countries in the world. Turkey, yes, I love you too. Don't get mad before my Turkish people get mad at me. But anyways, I was thinking to myself, Brazil is in South America, literally the same continent as Colombia, which is very popular. I was thinking, like, are these people now going to start coming over to Brazil because the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Medellin, even Thailand are getting overrun by tourists? And I feel like some of those tourists are fed up with that and they're like, nope, let's go somewhere else. So I was thinking, are they going to ever come to Brazil? Are they going to overrun and spoil the amazing country that is Brazil? And I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think that Brazil will ever get spoiled or overrun by tourists, and here are a couple reasons why. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to follow your boy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? And on top of that, hit that like button, hit that notification button so you guys know when your boy's dropping that heat. Share this with your baby mama, your baby daddy, anybody that's thinking of going to Brazil, anybody that's a huge traveler, anybody that's interested in traveling videos, send this video over to them. Spread the word that your boy's dropping great videos. Support your boy. And on top of that, one of the best ways to support your boy, sign up for that Patreon. I'm dropping some heat there, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Shit that I can't put up on YouTube, I am putting up on Patreon, and you do not want to miss out on that. And another way you guys can support is, of course, by checking out the teespring.com website in the description. Yes, it's in the description. The Patreon and the Teespring is in the description. Go to the description, click on the links, and you can check out my merchandise, my mugs, my hoodies, my shirts. I'm going to be dropping more merchandise as time goes on for the summertime. But check out that merchandise, man. I got some good shit there. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Brazil is too far. It is too far, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, imagine yourself taking 2 flights, okay? Because not that many airports in the United States or in the world have direct flights to Brazil, which means you'll have to take a connected flight. So that means, let's just say you're flying out from LaGuardia Airport, JFK Airport in the United States. You'll be landing in Houston, and then from Houston, you have to fly all the way down. I'm talking like 10 hours, right? 10 hours all the way down to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or Sao Paulo, wherever you're going to Brazil. Imagine being in an airplane for 10 hours. A lot of people can't handle that. So because a lot of people can't handle that, it's going to eliminate all the Pookies and Ray Rays. Brazil is immense, okay? It's a blessing and a curse. While it offers unparalleled diversity in landscapes and experiences, it also means that the tourist crowds are going to be dispersed across the country, unlike smaller destinations like, for example, a Medellin, Colombia, where everything's kind of in the main spots. Everything is in Parque Yeres or those type of places, which means it's going to be crowded with a ton of tourists and a ton of people there that are probably looking for the wrong thing. Of course, this isn't going to be a problem with Brazil because even in Rio de Janeiro itself, Everything is spread out. You got Copacabana, you got Ipanema, you got Leblon, Baja de Tijuca, you have, of course, Botafogo, you have the Santa Teresa area with Lapa and all that. Everything is super spread out, and even in Rio de Janeiro itself means that you're gonna have to take taxis, cabs, Ubers to get from one spot to the other. Not everything is super walkable in Rio de Janeiro, unlike a place like Colombia, unlike a place like Dominican Republic, where you have to walk a couple minutes and everything's in one single area. It's not like that in Rio, where everything is super spread out. Even Sao Paulo, which is another major city in Brazil, is similar. Everything is spread out. Not everything is in the same place. And Sao Paulo itself is huge. It is one of the biggest cities in the world, top 5, I believe. It's the biggest city in South America, and it's called the New York City of South America. So just imagine the size of Sao Paulo. So it's never going to get overcrowded. And even if a ton of Americans do go there, they're all going to be dispersed around the city. So you're barely going to even see anybody. The cost of travel in Brazil can act as a natural deterrent to mass tourism. While there are budget-friendly options available, Brazil's reputation for being relatively expensive compared to other destinations keeps many budget travelers at bay. Let's face it here, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people, we're not saying all, right? We're saying a good amount of people that go to Colombia, and I keep mentioning Colombia as an example. It has nothing to do with the people of Colombia. It has nothing to do with people that go there regularly, of course, for good intentions or anything like that. Or even the Dominican Republic, for example. I know I keep mentioning those two countries. The people that I'm talking about are those Pookies and Ray Rays, the weekend warriors that just want to go in and wreck shit up, right? I'm talking about those type of people. Places like Colombia, Dominican Republic are cheaper options, especially if you come from a big city in America. Super, super cheap. You can get a great Airbnb in Colombia for $500. Same thing with the Dominican Republic. You can get very affordable stay options for a fraction of the price that you would in New York City or a big city in America. The food is super cheap. You can eat out every single day in Colombia and Dominican Republic, and at 5-star restaurants. We're not talking about, a mom and pop shop. We're not talking about a hole in the wall. We're talking about 5-star restaurants. So cost of living is very cheap in places like Dominican Republic and places like Colombia, which is why when Americans go there, you can literally take $500 with you, $1,000 with you if you're trying to ball, and literally you can go ham in a place like Colombia because your dollar goes so far in places like that. Even other places in South America, your dollar can go far. Of course, Buenos Aires, Argentina being another. That's a super, super, super cheap option. But of course, nobody goes to Argentina because it's far, just like Brazil. Brazil is not like the other Latin American countries. I know a lot of people are going to assume, okay, it's Brazil, it's South America, it's Latin American country, it's a third world country, quote unquote, right? A third world country, quote unquote. Oh, it should be cheap. And then they come over here, right? So they do get on the plane, they fly 10 hours, they get to Rio de Janeiro, they order a meal, and they're like, wait up a second. This isn't as cheap as it was in Medellin or the Dominican Republic. What is going on here? And then they start going out to more places, and they see that the prices are definitely much higher than those other cities they've been to. And then they're like, fuck, Brazil expensive. And yes, that's the truth. Brazil is not a cheap country. Is it cheaper than the United States? Absolutely. You can get so much more in Brazil than you can in the United States. Your dollar is still very strong in Brazil. However, compared to these other Latin American countries, like for example, a Dominican Republic or Colombia, it's much, much, much more expensive. If I were to compare Brazil prices, I would say it's similar to Spain or some places in Europe, to where it's affordable than the United States, but it's still much more expensive than other countries. Another thing I want to mention about the flights is that in order for you to get a flight to Brazil, you got to pay $1,000+ to go over there. Like I literally paid like a little over $1,000 for my tickets. Not many Pookies and Ray Rays want to pay that type of money. The reason why they flew over to Dominican Republic and Medellin more is because they were much cheaper flights. We're talking like $500, maybe even $300, depending on the time of the year that you're booking it. So we're talking only a couple $100. And then on top of that, you're only spending spending another couple $100. Meanwhile, in Brazil, you'll be spending $1,000+ literally just on the flight itself. And of course, you're going to at least need $1,000 or a little bit more than that to survive and get to eat and go out to places, because it does rack up. It is a much more expensive country than other countries in Latin America. Another factor is the language barrier. Portuguese, okay, and let me repeat that. Portuguese is the official language of Brazil. And while many Brazilians speak some English, it is not widely spoken as in other tourist hotspots. The linguistic difference can be daunting for some travelers, creating a barrier to mass tourism. So that's exactly what happened to me when I went to Brazil for the first time. And if you guys want to check out that video, click up over there with that card. But I had a situation to where I literally couldn't really speak to many people because of the language barrier. And I did know Spanish, and I know they don't speak Spanish, but Spanish is very similar to Portuguese, and I still couldn't understand. So yes, imagine, even for me, a guy that prepared, a guy that went on Duolingo every single day, a guy that paid for tutoring classes, so that way when I landed over there, I had some sort of a fight, some sort of a chance. But I still did it, you know what I mean? So imagine people that go there unprepared, the weekend warriors, the Pookies and Raries are going there for the wrong reasons. They're gonna struggle. And only 1% of the Brazilian population speak English, which means you could go down the street, and out of 100 people that you speak to, maybe only one of them or a couple of them speak English. And even their English isn't fluent. So it's going to be hard for you to find someone that speaks English. And even if you do speak Spanish, they may not understand everything you're saying. Another thing that I'm going to add on to this, because a lot of Americans think, oh, I speak English, I'm American, they're going to bend over backwards for me, just like they do in other countries, right? Well, that's not the case in Brazil. Brazilians do not care, okay? Yes, they love gringos. They love foreigners because they don't really get as many foreigners coming there compared to other Latin American countries. So when you do get there, they're going to treat you nice. They're going to treat you with respect, but they're not going to roll over the red carpet for you like they do in other countries where they're literally treating you almost like a god. That doesn't work in Brazil. They're going to respect you. They're not going to treat you any different than what they would with a other Brazilian person. So you kind of got to earn your stripes in Brazil. And that's literally the theme for every single one of these points, is you got to earn your stripes. If you're trying to succeed in Brazil, you got to put in the effort. So to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen, for any of my folk who love Brazil, that's their favorite country to visit, and they're worried about the influx of tourists or people coming in there to ruin the country, well, you don't got to worry about much, because of the reasons that I just stated, we won't get too many tourists coming down there ruining things for us, because the thing is, it is too costly, it is too far, everything's spread out, and the language barrier. These things alone, and then on top of that, the visa that they're going to be implementing next year, which is going to require you to go into the country with a certain amount of money. You got to provide bank statements. So that is also going to eliminate even more people. So now the only people that can go to Brazil are going to be people that are financially well off, people that are going there for good intentions, that actually love that country. So because of that, Brazil will never be ruined. Brazil will always keep thriving, and I'm happy about this, and you should as well. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, make sure to check out these travel videos over here. Thank you.